Okay, cool. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I call the City Council meeting for Tuesday, November 24th, 2020 to order. At this time, if we could have please a moment of silence for all the concerns with COVID, and then safe travels for any people visiting and traveling this evening or tomorrow or during the holiday. Please, moment of silence. Thank you. If Alderman Ambrose would please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if Mr. Krupp could please call the roll.
Dunn.
Here.
Dorman.
Here.
McGinnis.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Grip.
Here.
Condon.
Here.
Peacock.
Here.
Dickman.
Here.
Jobson.
Here.
And Ambrose.
Here.
10 present, Your Honor.
Thank you, wonderful. So as we begin the meeting of the Davenport City Council tonight, please, if you have any comments, come to the podium, state your name and or ward or address, and if you're not from here, we'd love to know where you're from. Please remember to treat us all as a body and not individual. Talk to me, and we'll be respectful with you if you please be respectful with everyone else. And everyone listening, please have a happy Thanksgiving if I don't say it later on. So. First item, will an alderman please move approval of the city council meeting minutes for November 10th, 2020.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Very good. Any opposed? Thank you. And when will an alderman move approval of the special city council meeting minutes for November 17th, 2020?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Very good. Ms. Spiegel, City Administrator, is there anything for us this evening?
Just a reminder that city facilities will be closed Thursday and Friday, and solid waste pickup will shift a day. So if Thursday's your normal day, you'll see our crews Friday morning, and if Friday's your normal day, you'll see our staff on Saturday.
Very good. Thank you for that. A lot of Thanksgiving stuff, so good. All right, next item, will an alderman please move approval of the report on the Committee of the Whole for November 18th, 2020?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Opposed? Thank you. We have one appointment this evening to the Affirmative Action Advisory Committee. Rory Nimitz is a new appointment. I'll accept a motion. Is there a second? Motion is second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Thank you. That's approved. Next is petitions and communications. I just want to again say happy Thanksgiving. Wish everybody a safe travel if you're traveling. Remember, wear your mask and be cognizant of the COVID situation. And just everyone have a good weekend and be safe. Is there anyone else that has any comments? Alderman Grip.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to make note that with Thanksgiving and the holiday season upon us, a couple of festive attractions will be opening up on the 28th. Tonight, is going to be kind of the test run for the lights at February. And on the 28th, that show will go live, and the Vanderveer lights go on the same night. So that's two opportunities to take part in two really good community features that we brought online here in the last few years, and an opportunity to do so safely. So I hope that in the next month or so, you'll be able to get out and enjoy those. And then I would also like to wish a happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there, to my colleagues on the city council, the folks at home, and to our city staff. I feel very thankful to work here with you all, to serve the people of Davenport, and to live in such a great city. So I hope you all have an enjoyable Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Grip. Alderwoman Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to express my gratitude to those folks that are working in clinics and hospitals over this holiday, taking care of those who are in the hospital, who are sick, who are in challenging health, particularly due to COVID, and also for those who need to get in the hospitals and can't because the hospitals are full with COVID. And also those who are in skilled care facilities where the mayor, not the mayor, but the governor is allowing people with COVID to be caretakers of people without COVID. So we are in very serious times, and I'd like to express my gratitude to all of those people, and please beg everyone to take care. This is a very serious time. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Dorman.
Thank you, Mayor. I first off would also like to say happy Thanksgiving to the city of Davenport, including the rest of the people on city council. I just, like Alderman Group, do really appreciate working with all of you and thankful, and should probably tell you guys that more often than just this time of the year. But the one thing that Thanksgiving also kicks off is the official start to the holiday shopping season. And that being said, I want everyone to remember that this year when you're shopping for gifts, don't forget about our great small businesses we have here in town, whether they're downtown in the East Village or over in the Campus Hilltop or really anywhere else in Davenport. We have plenty of them here, and they really could use your business. So maybe instead of shopping on Amazon, which is something I do love to do myself, it is so convenient. This year, consider going to a small business and supporting them. A lot of times those gifts are a lot more thoughtful and meaningful than something you would find on a big box store or that big retail. So remember to keep that in mind as you do some holiday shopping this weekend, and as always, make sure you're doing it in a safe and responsible fashion. I know a lot of our small businesses are also doing their part to make sure everyone stays safe with capacity limitations and social distancing and doing other special ordering opportunities, but they can still use your business either way, whether we have the COVID stuff or not. So I really encourage you to find a way to get out there and support and shop local. That's it. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Alderwoman McGinnis.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just briefly wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and also to thank all the great organizations. This is a challenging year for lots of folks in the city. They may have had their jobs cut or dealing, financially, and so the need is greater than ever for to reach out and help folks at this holiday time. And we have a lot of organizations in the city that are working to distribute food and letting others know, making sure that people are in the loop and know that things are available. And I just wanted to thank them because they continue to go an extra mile in the city of Davenport and make this a special time of the year for folks. So many thanks to those people.
Thank you, Alderwoman McGinnis. Anyone else? Very good. And I just want to say special shout out to all our military folks and troops that are around the world that won't be home with their families. So thank you for what you do. Hearing no one else, seeing no one else, we'll move on. We have one item on the discussion agenda this evening. It's a second consideration of an ordinance amending section 10.74.050 entitled Mufflers, Prevention of Noise, and section 9.20.030 entitled Trespass of the Municipal Code of the City of Davenport. Is there any public with comment? Seeing none, will an alder move? There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from Alderman? Alderman Grip.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to make mention to my colleagues that I very typically vote against voting on items on first or second consideration that are ordinance changes, and I don't think that we should as a standard practice. I think when you're changing law, you need to give the public the full 6 weeks to have input. And while I'm generally in favor of this item, I will be voting no tonight to suspend the rules. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Alderman Dorman.
Thank you, Mayor. I also wanted to mimic Alderman Griff's comments that this is an ordinance an ordinance change that did come out of our speed task force that we're working on with our central corridor, really aimed at trying to find a way to stop some of the loud muffler noises that are keeping up a lot of the neighbors in this area and really terrorizing them at night. And although I do find that extremely important, and it is something that I wish we could stop right now and have this kind of in our back pocket to be able to use to enforce, it is also under that same kind of thought process that Alderman Griff laid out, that although the ordinance change is important, I do not think it is a emergency or one of those items that really needs to be passed right now. It could wait another cycle and still have the same effect that we're hoping to see the ordinance have. So I hope that we can move this item along to third consideration, but I am not in favor of suspending the rules in order to pass it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Peacock.
Thank you. I do have a question, but first let me say this. I'm never in favor of suspending the rules, and like my hesitation is many times. Every time we suspend the rules is usually, in my opinion, is not for the greater good of Davenport, but usually for some small interest of Davenport. That being said, I do have a question in regards, as I'm looking at this ordinance. I hope this is the perfect time to ask this question because it was posed to me. The city of Davenport historically had an issue with profiling. That being said, I own a Ford truck that may have, if I read this ordinance right, over 50 feet. That's just a stock vehicle. So this individual, whoever, a police officer could pull me over and possibly, use it as probable cause to not only ask questions, but look for other things. But this is one of those things I hope whoever put this ordinance together, go back, retweak it, and relook at this thing, because I think this ordinance is problematic. Of course, I will not be voting for suspension of rules, and I will not be in favor of this ordinance as written. Thank you so very much. But I hope I can speak to that.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. Alderwoman Lee.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I'm the one who told the story originally last week about the loud muffler. I did not ask for a suspension of the rules at the time. I just passed on the story. I've made it clear over time that I'm also against suspension of the rules. For convenience, this is a resolution, and there's been a request for some modifications of the resolution. So I also will vote against the suspension of the rules. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to be clear, it's an ordinance. Alderwoman McGinnis.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, I understand that and have many folks who reach out to me about noisy mufflers on all kinds of vehicles. So, but I also, I think this is something we can wait another cycle on. There are times when we do have to suspend the rules, sometimes when we're dealing with the public that might not understand our need for getting in their plans for closing a street. And I tend to be more forgiving for that because it might be something they're only doing once. But I don't see any reason to rush this along. We have another cycle coming up, so I would also be not in favor of suspending the rules. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Alderman Jobson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was the council member made this motion last week at the committee of the whole, basically just upon something that seemed like a item that wouldn't garner much discussion, move it along. I'm probably one of the more liberal-minded council members in regards to suspending the rules in that regards. However, I have no angst about withdrawing that motion and seeing this through another cycle. It's like the suspension of the rules is bringing up more conversation for this ordinance than would have if we would have just moved it to the consent agenda. So if there's something that stimulates a little conversation, hey, that's fine. Again, I'm willing to withdraw that motion and let it go on for another cycle.
Are you good? Okay, Alderwoman, let's see, Alderman Ambrose.
Thank you, Your Honor. First off, that's one of the problems with government, too much bureaucracy and too much red tape. This should have been done on the first reading. But I'm more disappointed in Alderman Peacock's comment about our police department having a history of profiling. I've been around a while, and I don't recall there being any history of profiling. So I'm disappointed in Alderman Peacock. Thanks.
Okay, Alderman Dorman, do you have another comment, second bite at the apple here?
Yeah, I was just wondering, for a point of clarification, do we actually need to vote on suspension of the rules, or can we just move the ordinance along to third consideration without it being going through the suspension of the rules vote?
Very good. I'll give Mr. Warner please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Essentially, there's been a motion and a second on the second consideration. There'll be a roll call on that. If no one moves to suspend the rules, or if no one seconds that motion, then we just move on to the consent agenda.
That cool with you, Mr. Alderman Dorman?
Thanks for your clarification, Tom. That being said, can I move to consideration?
Okay, we're still on the original, so just hold on. Anybody else on second consideration? Okay, seeing none, Brian, please call the roll for second consideration.
Dorman,
Yes.
Peacock,
No.
Dickman,
Yes.
Condon,
Yes.
Ambrose, Jobson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Grip,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes,
and Lee.
Yes.
9 yeses and 1 no, Your Honor.
Very good. It moves to third consideration. There was a motion, recommendation for suspension of rules, so I'll ask is there anyone wanting to make that motion?
so moved.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? There is a second, okay? A motion has been moved and seconded. Brian, please roll call for suspension of the rules.
Ambrose, Dorman,
No.
Condon,
No.
Jobson,
Yes.
Dunn,
No.
Dickman,
No.
Grip,
No.
McGinnis,
No,
Lee,
No.
and Peacock.
No.
2 yeses and 8 noes, Your Honor.
Roger that. We need 8 for approval of suspension of rules. That does not happen, so now we move on to the consent agenda. There's a motion. I'll accept a motion and a second for all items on the consent. Brian, roll call for consent agenda, please. Hold on, we have one item that we need to pull off. Staff, please tell me that.
So staff would request pulling number 12 and tabling indefinitely.
Okay, we'll do that first. All right, staff recommends a pull off 12, so I'll accept a motion and a second to table number 12. There's a motion and a second. Okay, roll call to table this, number 12.
Grip,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Mr.
Jobson,
Mayor?
We're voting.
asked a question before that, so keep in mind, we virtually.
There's no question,
and
there's
we
no
have to keep
comment,
up.
sir. There's no comment on tabling. There's no discussion on tabling. There's a motion and a second to table that we're voting. Carry on, Brian.
Jobson,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Peacock, Alderman Peacock, okay. McGinnis,
Yes.
Ambrose, Condon,
Yes.
Lee, Alderwoman Lee,
This is
Must have left her. Carry on.
and Dunn.
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Very good. Okay. That's been tabled. Now we're back to the original consent. There is a motion and a second.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor,
Who's asking?
Alderman Peacock.
Alderman.
Please keep in mind, we are virtually, and we have to keep up with you guys. So I'm asking you to consider that when you talk about removing things. We don't have an agenda right in front of us like you do. That was my comment. Thank you.
Point of clarification. Hey, Tom, could you explain to the council why the mayor could not accept comments after there was a motion to table the item?
Right. Thank you,
It is not
Alderman.
necessary. Thank you.
Mr. Peacock, there's an alderman that asked a question. You asked yours. Now it's another turn. Thank you. We're not on a table motion right now. We're on the regular motion. So please don't interrupt. Mr. Warner.
Yes, thank you, Alderman Grip, for the question. Once there's been a motion, a second to table, there is no debate on that, so the mayor was then forced to close any discussion.
That's in accordance with Robert
This
rules,
is Alderman Peacock.
That's in accordance with the council's rules.
council's rules. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Peacock, now do you have another question, please?
It's not a question. Let me repeat what I just said. I said, keep in mind that we are virtual. When you pull things off, I do not have an agenda readily available. We have to catch up to you. So keep that in mind. Slow the conversation down so we can keep up with you. Thank you so very much.
Is there anyone else? Very good. Continue the roll call, please, Brian, on consent.
Peacock,
Yes.
Jobson,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Condon,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Grip,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
and Lee.
Yes.
10 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Okay. Moving to the next item. And just so everybody knows, and we'll try and do that, we'll try and make sure that agendas are in boxes for everybody, especially the folks that are out and about, but it is emailed to you well ahead of time. So thank you. Is there any other ordinances, resolutions, or motions? There are not. Is there any public with business? Please come to the podium, state your name, ward or address. If you're not from here, we'd love to know where you are. You'll have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening, Bill Handel, Nashville, Tennessee, and Davenport, Iowa. Just wanted to follow up conversation I had the last couple times talking about the downtown Davenport plan. Again, thanks for the opportunity to speak with you. So in the intervening week, I just had a chance to sit down and look at the WXY plan and kind of get some idea of if I were designing the Davenport plan, what would I do in contrast to what they have based on what I think is probably best for the citizens of Davenport, not necessarily the Downtown Davenport Association and the developers that are eager to work in our downtown area. And I guess the number one thing that I have comment, and I've spoken about it before, are the two large blocks that are called for demolition on the WXY plan, that being the ground transportation building here and the former, what will soon be the former Y. I think if you look at downtown Davenport, very few buildings take a full block. I mean, our blocks are good size, not like they were when I lived in Houston, which you could pretty much get one skyscraper on a block, and that was it. Very boring and very limiting. So I think we would want to look at, with askance at any project that we're talking about, developing a whole city block for one apartment complex or one parking garage or one of anything, even a high-rise like they were showing at the ground transportation building. I think with its, let's start with that one. With its close proximity to the Figge, I think if we were to demolish the semicircular bus shelter on the front of that building, and we decide that we don't want it to be a bus shelter or a city transit building anymore, it'd be a perfect, as I said before, a perfect place for a public market in conjunction with our farmers market, or it could be fine retail. It could have some tie with the Figge itself, but all this green area, that could be sculpture garden associated with the Figge. I mean, we would have something that Des Moines doesn't have. Unfortunately, their art museum is at quite a distance from their sculpture garden. We'd be able to have them together, and as people come into Welcome Way, turn into Harrison, into town, that'd be the first thing they see. We end up, that block has beautiful views past the old train station of the river. I mean, it's a natural. I'm proposing that we actually take the south half of the garage that's adjoining and not make that necessarily commercial right away, but perhaps that would be a place for the bus function to be. Thinking about my old neighbor, who was 92 years old, Miss Zemanek. She took a bus from the 5 Point area to Aldi's. It took her about 2 hours each way. And she was 92 years old, did that. I can't see her waiting in the cold Davenport air in January like the WXY plan showed with an open air bus shelter. I think we shouldn't do that. The former Y, it really has architectural significance. It's built well. It's a civic building. Lots of folks learn to swim there, and it's on the historic site of Washington Square. So I think we ought to consider donating to the Y some architectural services to look at repurposing that building. And I also think we'd want to hire an architect to look at repurposing of the ground transportation building, because to replace it would be quite a bit of money. But then I also have an overall plan of the whole downtown, and it's too complicated to go into right now. Some of the WXY things I think are quite questionable. Besides that, for example, they called for single-family houses, townhouses, right up here next to in that full one block next to the Times plant. I think this whole area that I'm showing in purple, I think that's probably the place that our future hotels need to go, and perhaps a future convention center. If we play our cards right, Davenport could become a tourist destination, much like Charleston, South Carolina became one. 100 years ago, that was a nothing town. It had a past, not much of a future. Davenport could learn a lot from Charleston. Thanks so much. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving, okay?
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, hearing no one else, is there any other reports, Ms. Spiegel? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? There's a motion and a second. All in favor of adjourning and having a happy Thanksgiving, please.
Aye.
Be safe, take care, have a good weekend. Motion to adjourn is approved.